Kink Live brought to you by Intel. Please welcome to the Bing Lounge, Shawn Colvin. Hi, Shawn.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you again. Thank you for coming in.
Same here. No problem.
All right. You're at the Maryhill tomorrow with Chris Isaac. How's that going?
Oh, it's going great.
How
It's
crazy
I'm actually,
is
he second part of the show, he wears pants with little square mirrors on them. I've been sitting in a little bit, so.
Good. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I have a copy of your memoir here. And if you don't know, Shawn has a book out now, A Diamond in the Rough. Do like the television thing of holding it up here so you can all see it. So I started reading the book, and I was talking to Lyle Lovett a couple of weeks ago, and you and Lyle and I are roughly the same age. And so I'm starting to read this book, and I just kind of have to keep putting it down because there's so many things. The Kingston Trio, your parents were Kingston Trio fans. My parents were Kingston Trio fans. You mentioned the Corn Palace in South Dakota.
Yeah, how do you know about the Corn?
I've been there. We went, when I was a kid, my dad got a grant from the government, and we went to Michigan State for a year. So we traveled from here back to Michigan State. And
I was going to say, like,
at the Corn Palace.
If you had extra time on your hands, I didn't think you'd be traveling to the Corn Palace. It must have been en route.
Not from Portland.
No.
The Sound of Music soundtrack, that was one. Kidney Stones and Dilaudid. I've had that experience as well. So it's really interesting. All these different references came up that we have in common. And I know that I'm sure it's different than writing an album, but what was it like writing this book?
It was very different. With a song, you have parameters,
Right.
It's not a very long piece, and you need to rhyme things, usually. There are some things repeated,
Right.
And it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and it's manageable. Not always easy, but somehow manageable. What I do is I have a page, and then if I have the title or whatever I have, I put in there, and then I have dots by the lines that aren't there yet. And it's just filling in the lines, after the dots. And with a book, I was just hanging out in the wind. I mean,
Yeah, it's
where
all
do
new
you
rules,
start?
right?
Yeah, where do you start, and how does it? Do you go chronologically, or what do you? Where do you start? What do you cover? What do you not cover? What do you do?
So, I mean, what did you come up with? I mean, how did you do it?
I made an outline. Thank God for my English classes in high school. I did. I made an outline, but I started in the middle because someone kind of dared me to write the book, and I didn't think I could do that. And he said, "Well, write a chapter or two." So that it seemed like I could try. And I did, and it was interesting. It was kind of so. I started somewhere in the middle, and then, beginning and ending is good. So you kind of decide on what that's going to be. And I don't know. You figure it out eventually.
Will you write more? Do you think?
Chapter names were good too. That helped me.
Right.
No, I don't really want to write it again.
You're all done. Have you thought about writing fiction at all?
No, I don't know how anybody does that. I mean, I knew my subject, to make it. I mean, I know fiction writers borrow from their lives and friends' lives and things they might read. I have a couple of friends who write short stories and novels, but I can barely write fiction in my songs. They're just so autobiographical, so probably not my thing.
All right. The new album is out. It's called All Fall Down. Love the album.
Thank you.
Do. Yeah. How incredibly good is Buddy Miller?
Oh, man. He's like beyond a triple threat.
And you've known him for a long time, too, right?
I've known him for 30 years at least.
How'd you meet?
We met, I moved to Austin. I live in Austin now, but I moved there initially in 1975 or 6. I can never keep track. And Buddy lived there at the time as well and was actually a drummer. Among other things, I think he can play anything.
Right.
That's kind of the story. So we were fellow musicians in Austin, Texas. I moved a couple years later, and Buddy eventually got to New York City and started his own band there because this country trend was going on in the country, and
Well, that's
a
like the
country
urban
trend in
cowboy era?
Urban cowboy, and New York was right in there. And Buddy went up, to get on the train, and he came by it honestly. And his now wife Julie was in the band, but she quit.
Oh, okay.
And he wanted a female singer in the band, so he called me. I was in Northern California by then, not knowing what I was doing there, and asked me to come to New York and be in his band. And so that was 1980. So he's cropped up in my life
Nice.
many times.
How important is that, having somebody that you know when you're doing a project like an album? Is it critical?
I'm wondering if I ever did one with somebody I didn't know. I
Yeah,
guess
I
I
was
didn't
thinking
know
of that
Larry
too.
Klein when I first went in, but I'd met him, and he's easy to know. So, but
Like John Leventhal, you knew before you worked with him too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Although we started, John Leventhal and I met him when I was, Buddy left the band then, 9 months later. So then I had the band in New York, and but Buddy, ferocious guitar player that he is not easy to replace. And I had to find someone, and that's how I met John Leventhal.
Good. Brian Blade is on this record, and a lot of people don't know Brian, but he is incredible too, huh?
Oh, he's ridiculous.
How'd you? He
Felt
is.
like he had to dumb down to this music, Da-da.
Yeah, I saw him with Black Dub, Daniel Lanois
yeah,
band.
I
That's
love
the first
Black
time I
Dub.
saw him, and I was just blown away
Trixie
by.
Whitley.
Yes.
Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's great. Yeah, Brian Blade is ridiculous, and that was Buddy's call. Buddy put together the foursome.
Okay.
That was our band. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, not counting me. It was 4. Victor Krauss on bass, Bill Frisell on guitar, Buddy on guitar, obviously, and that's 4 people.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, and Brian on drums.
Yeah. Works. No, it's a
I'm
beautiful
getting
album.
old, people.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, me too. It's a beautiful album. If you get a chance to pick it up, I would encourage you to do that. All Fall Down is the name of the album. And Shawn Colvin here in the Bing Lounge. Love to hear some music.
Okay.